In the vast tapestry of Halo's universe, few stories are as strange, unsettling, and unexpectedly fascinating as that of Bipbap the Vanquisher. An Unggoy, a Grunt, born in the methane-rich swamps of Balaho, Bipbap's life defies every stereotype of his species. Where most Unggoy were dismissed as expendable cannon fodder, cowardly infantry, or just comic relief, Bipbap clawed his way into notoriety through betrayal, assassination, and sheer brutality, becoming one of the most dangerous Unggoys ever recorded by the UNSC. So, join me as we journey deep into the shadows of Halo's universe, uncovering the ruthless rise and chilling legacy of Bipbap the Vanquisher. From his beginnings on the methane swamps of Balaho to his bloody service under Tartarus, his reinvention as an assassin and his notorious reign with the Banished, we'll peel back every layer of his story. All of this and more awaits you right here in the Codex Vault, your gateway to the hidden lore behind the characters, worlds, and legends that define gaming and nerd culture. If you enjoy diving into these stories and want to unlock even more secrets from across the multiverse of games and fandoms, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a journey into the vault. Bipbap's early life in Balaho was shaped by the unforgiving realities of his species' homeworld, a planet often described as suffocating crucible where only the most cunning and ruthless Unggoy could rise above obscurity. Balaho itself is a methane-rich, swamp-covered world plagued by overpopulation, toxic air, and scarce resources, forcing Unggoy clans to live in sprawling hive clusters carved into the cliffs and caverns, each competing violently for food, territory, and survival. For most Unggoy, this meant a life of desperation and servitude, destined to be exploited by the Covenant as disposable infantry or menial labourers. But Bipbap's trajectory suggests he was never content to remain at the bottom of the hierarchy. Growing up in overcrowded hives, he would have witnessed constant clan skirmishes, methane shortages that led to suffocation and death, and brutal suppression of Unggoy rebellions by Sangheili and Jilhani overseers. These conditions likely instilled in him a deep sense of inferiority and resentment, but also a ruthless pragmatism. Survival required betrayal, and ambition demanded violence. Theory suggests that even as a young Grunt, Bipbap may have distinguished himself by outmaneuvering rival clans in the swamps using ambush tactics against competitors or currying favour with stronger species by betraying his own kind. The methane swamps themselves were treacherous, filled with predatory creatures and toxic pools, and navigating them would have taught Bipbap stealth, patience, and opportunism, skills that later defined his career as an assassin. His clan's eventual recognition of him as Vanquisher may have had roots in these formative years, when his actions in the hive clusters marked him as someone willing to kill without hesitation, even if it meant turning on his fellow Unggoy. In this way, Bipbap's childhood was not just a backdrop, but a crucible that explains later willingness to slaughter his own species during the Great Schism, reinvent himself as mercenary after the Covenant's collapse, and embrace the Banished ethos of strength through notoriety. His early life in Balaho was a microcosm of Unggoy struggle, poverty, oppression, and desperation, but Bipbap turned those conditions into fuel for ambition, setting the stage for one of the most notorious and feared careers ever recorded for a Grunt. Bipbap's years of service with the Covenant were the foundation of his reputation, and they reveal how seemingly insignificant Unggoy could rise to notoriety in one of the most rigid hierarchies in the Halo universe. During the Human Covenant War, Bipbap was not relegated to the usual expendable infantry role that most Grunts endured. Instead, he was elevated to the position of bodyguard for the high-ranking Covenant officials, including the infamous Jilhani Chieftain Tartarus. This role alone was extraordinary, as Unggoy were rarely entrusted with responsibilities that required loyalty, discipline, and proximity to leadership. To achieve such a position, Bipbap must have demonstrated a combination of cunning, brutality, and unwavering obedience, traits that set him apart from his peers. His service under Tartarus placed him at the heart of the Covenant's most turbulent era, and it was during the Great Schism, the civil war that erupted when the Sangheili broke away from the Covenant, that Bipbap's ruthlessness became infamous. While many Unggoy sided with the elites in hopes of escaping brute domination, Bipbap chose the opposite path, slaughtering scores of his own kind who had defected. This act of betrayal against fellow Unggoy was not only shocking, but also strategically significant, as it demonstrated to the Jilhani that he was willing to enforce their authority with merciless efficiency. By turning his weapons on his own species, Bipbap proved himself to be a loyal enforcer of brute supremacy, a Grunt who would not hesitate to kill those closest to him if it meant securing favour and survival. His actions during this period cemented his reputation as a figure of fear, both among the Unggoy who saw him as a traitor and among Covenant leadership who recognized his utility as a ruthless tool. In many ways, his Covenant service was a crucible that transformed him from a product of Balaho's desperation into a mercenary defined by ambition and violence. It was here that Bipbap learned the value of notoriety, the power of aligning himself with dominant factions, and the effectiveness of brutality as a means of advancement. Lessons he would carry into his later career as an assassin and banished operative. Bipbap's assassin for hire career represents the most chilling and transformative chapter of his life, where he fully shed the image of a disposable Unggoy and reinvented himself as a mercenary whose name carried fear across colonies. After the Covenant collapsed in late 2552, most grunts returned to Balaho to live out their lives in obscurity, but Bipbap saw opportunity in chaos. On his home world, he refashioned himself into an assassin, leveraging the skills he had honed during his Covenant service, stealth, brutality, and a willingness to betray his own kind, and applied them to the lucrative world of contract killing. His methods were not subtle. He was notorious for collateral damage, often employing explosives, sabotage, and overwhelming force to eliminate his targets. This ruthless efficiency earned him immense success, so much so that his clan formally bestowed upon him the title of Vanquisher, a rare honor for an Unggoy and one that reflected both fear and respect. His most infamous operations took place on the human colony of Venezia, where his relentless pursuit of targets left devastation in his wake. Over 830 human casualties were attributed to his actions, a staggering number that suggests he employed large-scale distraction rather than precision strikes. Perhaps detonating infrastructure, planting methane-based chemical devices, or orchestrating ambushes that spiraled into massacres. What makes this period of his life so remarkable is that Bipbap was not acting under the orders of a larger faction. He was an independent mercenary, carving out a reputation in a galaxy where Unggoy were rarely taken seriously. His success as an assassin demonstrated that he had transcended the limitations of his species, becoming a figure feared not just for his brutality, but for his unpredictability. UNSC took notice, cataloguing him as one of the most dangerous Unggoys ever encountered, and his notoriety spread across both human and ex-Covenant circles. In many ways, this assassin career was a bridge between his Covenant service and his eventual role in the Banished. It proved that Bipbap could thrive outside of rigid hierarchies, that he could weaponize chaos for personal gain, that his ambition was not bound by the expectations of his kind, transforming from a grunt in the shadows of Balaho into a mercenary whose name was synonymous with destruction, betrayal, and fear. Bipbap's career with the Banished marked the culmination of his transformation from a desperate survivor of Balaho into a mercenary whose name carried weight even among Atriox's brutal coalition. After years of carving out a reputation as an assassin for hire, Bipbap found a natural home in the Banished, an organization that thrived on chaos, opportunism, and the rejection of Covenant hierarchy. Unlike the Covenant, which relegated Unggoy to expendable infantry, the Banished valued effectiveness above tradition, and Bipbap's notoriety made him a perfect fit. He was assigned to Alpha Pack in the 9th combat element of the Heart of Tala, a unit known for its ferocity, and he became affiliated with the Bloodstars, a mercenary faction infamous for their ruthless tactics. This placement elevated him far beyond the station of most Unggoy, positioning him alongside warriors who were feared across the galaxy. Within the Banished, Bipbap's skills as an assassin were amplified by access to superior equipment and resources. He donned a maroon ultra combat harness, carried plasma grenades, and wielded the Calcine Disruptor, a modified plasma pistol that inflicted lingering electrical damage, symbolizing the pain he left behind long after the initial strike. He also employed personal energy shielding, a rare upgrade for Unggoy, which made him far more resilient in combat and reinforced his status as a high-value operative. His role in the Banished was not limited to assassination. He embodied their ethos of strength through notoriety, using fear and destruction to maintain dominance. During the Banished occupation of Installation 07 and 2560, Bipbap's presence was discovered by the Weapon, who relayed his location to Spartan 2 John 117. This marked the final chapter of his career, as Master Chief hunted him down and eliminated him, ending the reign of one of the most dangerous Unggoy ever recorded. Yet, even in death, Bipbap's legacy endured. His Calcine Disruptor became a symbol of his brutality. Unlocked as a weapon variant for those who defeated him, Bipbap's Banished career was a perfect conclusion to his life story. A mercenary elevated by chaos, feared by allies and enemies alike, and ultimately remembered as a legend of terror among the Unggoy. Bipbap's conclusion is as grim and dramatic as the life that preceded it, serving as both a cautionary tale and fitting end to one of the most notorious Unggoy in Halo's expandable lore. By the time of the Banished occupation of Installation 07 to 2560, Bipbap had already carved out a reputation that made him stand apart from his species. A mercenary assassin, a clan-recognised vanquisher, and a feared enforcer whose name was recognised in UNSC dossiers among the most dangerous Unggoys known. His career trajectory from the methane swamps of Balaho, through his bloody service under Tartarus, to his reign of terror on Venezia, and finally into the ranks of the Banished, had transformed him to a legend of brutality. Yet, legends in Halo often meet their end at the hands of Spartans, and Bipbap was no exception. The conclusion of Bipbap's story reinforces the themes that define Halo's universe. That power gained through betrayal and violence is fleeting, that even the most unlikely figures can rise to notoriety, and that the Banished, for all of their chaos, are not invincible against the determination of humanity's greatest warrior. For the Unggoy, Bipbap's legacy is a paradox. He proved that a Grunt could transcend expandably and become feared across species, but he also demonstrated the cost of such ambition as his betrayal of his own kind, and his ruthless methods left him isolated, despised, and ultimately doomed. His death on Zeta Halo closes a chapter on a life that challenged every stereotype of his species, leaving behind a story that is equal parts fascinating, horrifying, and unforgettable in the Halo lore.